Pronouns are he, him, and whatever your sexual orientation, gender identity, ethnicity, family makeup, etc., you are most welcome here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto. May you find nourishment and inspiration for your journey. And with COVID still with us and the flu season approaching, may you also stay healthy. We express our mutual respect by supporting each other's decisions about masking and social distancing and other health measures. If you'd like a mask today and you don't have one, please raise your hand and we will provide one for you. If you're new to us, we use these cards during the service to share any joys or concerns that are on our hearts. If you'd like to fill one out, you can find them at the entry, and there is still time. Meanwhile, I have a few pre-service announcements, most of which are also listed near the top of your order of service. Most Sundays we have religious education classes for all younger folks, but today only the preschool through second grade group has class, with 3rd through 8th grades staying here in the sanctuary. Childcare is available for our smallest ones, and the high school group meets tonight at 6 p.m. with pizza at the Redwood City UU Fellowship. You have to show your high school card to get in, so if free pizza, no. All classes resume, what was that? All classes resume next Sunday, and for more information on those programs, you can go to UUCPA's website. Today, the Social Justice Action Council meets at 11:30 in Classroom 9, so please check that out if you're interested in supporting and exploring their good works. Also, the Thriving Together Health and Wellness Support Groups meets today at 11:30 in the Fireside Room, which, if you don't know, is right next door here. And especially for anybody relatively new, but really anybody who's interested in connecting further with this community and our UU tradition, after today's service, the second of a 4-part Sunday series of gatherings called Starting Point continues. It's a chance to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, to share our own values and histories, and explore all that UUCPA offers. I'll be there, and even if you missed the first session last week, you are still most welcome to come today. That's at 11:45 in Classroom 6. And one more time-sensitive highlight. Next Sunday, repeat, next Sunday, October 12th, our service time, start time moves from 10:15 to 10:30. If you didn't hear that on Zoom, there's a lot of yays going on. So mark your calendars and arrive 15 minutes earlier. Oh, question? No, that has nothing to do with the daylight savings time. That's the first Sunday in November, I believe. Later, 10:30. Did I say earlier? Oh, you know why? Because I started to say you can arrive 15 minutes earlier to join with friends, get settled in, etc. So yes, 10:30 next Sunday. All right. Finally, every month, UUCPA teams with a local justice partner. October's is South Bay Sanctuary Covenant, and we're glad that UUCPA's very own Karen Skold is here to tell us about their vital work. Just drop this here a little bit for you.
Good morning. I am Karen Skold. I'm not only a member of the Social Justice Action Council, but also a member of the Executive Committee of South Bay Sanctuary Covenant. We are a small local organization that has devoted its energies for more than 40 years to helping refugees from Central America, especially El Salvador, and after the Civil War ended, partnering with small rural communities in El Salvador to help them with their projects of getting started after the war. This year, we are asking for money for chickens. Now, last year, we asked for funding for family gardens in a particularly poor community. I'm glad to say that the family gardens are now functioning well, and they're organic, and the people learned from an agronomist how to raise organic vegetables. Next, the next step is providing them with chickens, a source of protein both in eggs and meat, and they will be doing even better as a result of this. So the other thing that is relevant is that the president of El Salvador is a mini Trump, and he has now declared that any money coming from outside the country must come in with a 30% tax. So we know what that's like.
I believe that translates to gross up your contribution to cover the tax. I now invite you to center yourself, and thank you, Karen. I now invite you to center yourself in your chair. Take a couple of deep breaths. You might want to close your eyes or lower your gaze. Let your forehead relax, your shoulders drop, your midsection soften. Breathe. Let any mental chatter subside. Breathe again into your belly. And as mindfulness practice advises us, be totally present to this moment. We gather, our different paths entwined, to deepen our spiritual lives, nourishing connection, learning from each other, caring for each other, tending to our world. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, we allow ourselves to arrive here fully. Welcome. Each Sunday, Unitarian Universalist congregations light a chalice, the symbol of our UU faith. On the first Sunday of this autumn season of change and in this time of transitional exploration at UUCPA, today's chalice words are reading number 655 in our Singing the Living Tradition hymnal, here abridged by me. They're from Heraclitus of Ephesus. In searching for the truth, be ready for the unexpected. Change alone is unchanging. The same road goes up and down. The beginning of a circle is also its end. Not I, but the world says it. All is one. And yet everything comes in season. We kindle our chalice with the intention of opening to the challenges and opportunities of change and honoring the seasons and cycles of life. And since sometimes change means going with the flow, please rise now in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. The lyrics are on screen in the online order of service and in the teal hymnal. Clapping and body movement are highly encouraged, aka shake it till you make it.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, how nice. So I think as Kat says, all children, both young and old, or young at heart, are welcome to come up and join us on this lovely quilt. And this is a team effort this morning. Greg and I are doing this together. So welcome, 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 welcome everybody. All right, this story is appropriate for the season. Anybody know what season it is right now? Fall, that's right, it's fall. It's called A Little Yellow Leaf. And I can probably sit down here. And I can hopefully get up again.
Same here.
Okay, are we on the, yes, we are. It was autumn, that's another name for fall, right? In the hush of the forest, a lone yellow leaf clung to the branch of a great oak tree. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go, thought the little yellow leaf. And the fiery leaves around him chased and swirled around the tree. I think I should put on my glasses. Oh, not yet, thought the little yellow leaf. As the afternoon sun beckoned and teased, not ready, thought the little yellow leaf, as the apples grew musky, pumpkins heavy, and flocks of geese took wing. Woo-hoo. Still not, he thought, as the other leaves gathered into great heaps, crackling dry where the children played. A chill filled the air, like this morning, right? And the sun sank slowly. Not ready, thought the little yellow leaf, as a heavy harvest moon bloomed amber in the starry sky. You know what comes after autumn? Some of you have never seen this. Through the long night, snow flurried, and the little yellow leaf held fast to the great oak tree. Raise your hand if you've seen snow. Who's seen snow? Most of you have. Days passed, and still the little yellow leaf held tight, alone. He searched the bare branches covered only with a shimmer of snow, alone.
I think this leaf is stubborn.
He is, isn't he? Oh, and then, high up on an icy branch, a scarlet flash, one more leaf holding tight.
From the top of the tree.
You're here, called the little yellow leaf. I am, said the little scarlet leaf. Like me, said the little yellow leaf. Neither spoke. Finally, will you? Asked the little scarlet leaf. I will, said the little yellow leaf.
What are they going to do?
And 1, 2, 3, they both let go and soared. You know what soared means? Yeah, they flew. Into the waiting wind they danced, off and away and away and away. Woohoo! Together. Just like two friends down at the bottom. So, yes. So thank you very much. As Reverend Peter mentioned earlier, There's Sunday school for grades preschool through 2, and everybody else gets to stay here. And there will be childcare if anybody needs it, wants it. Thank you very much for listening to my story. You're all very good listeners.
Well, my cute factor is filled for the month, I think. Yeah, watching those faces. Darren Abrahams is a life coach and social entrepreneur based in England. I contracted with Darren for some coaching and recommend him highly, though all those transatlantic flights did get pricey. Kidding, we met online. The following is from his blog, as excerpted and significantly adapted by me. In my private practice working with clients, I describe those moments when a person is between stories, that is, pushing past thoughts and behaviors that no longer work in their life and embracing a greater vision of themselves, as entering a chrysalis. When a butterfly caterpillar is ready to transform, something goes off inside it to make it change its behavior and enter a new stage of its existence. Up until this point, a caterpillar is basically an eating machine. It consumes everything around it to fuel the energy it needs to reach this next stage. But at the moment of readiness, it stops eating and goes through an extraordinary metamorphosis. It sheds its skin, legs, and head and becomes a pupa, also called a chrysalis, which is also the term for the protective casing that forms around it. Inside this casing, the caterpillar then completely dissolves until it is nothing but genetic goo, containing special cells called imaginal cells, each with the potential to become part of the emerging butterfly: legs, thorax, head, and of course, wings. An extraordinary chemical reaction occurs, and in a short span of time, the butterfly begins to form. It grows and grows until it can no longer be contained within the confines of the chrysalis that encases it, and pushes its way free, ready to unfurl its wings and take flight, a completely new creature. When I work with my clients, we talk about how uncomfortable that transformation must be for the caterpillar. It loses its legs, its head, its skin, and completely dissolves into a state that has no precedent in its life. Does it know what it will become? Can it have any conception of what is happening to it and what the outcome will be? In the same way, can we know what we will become when we start our journey of transformation? And now here we are in a world going through incredible change. It's uncomfortable. It's scary. Collectively, it feels as though we're losing our legs, head, and skin. Who knows if we'll make it out the other side? Who knows what we will become? It is generally the fear of pain that keeps us, and I'll insert societies, from growing, and holds us in a status quo that might be unhealthy but is comfortable in its familiarity. But nothing ever improves without change, so we have to learn to tolerate the discomfort if we want something better. Writer Charles Eisenstein said that collectively we have entered a time between stories. I like that. It implies that the future is not yet set and that we still have some power to direct the way we'd like it to go. So whether personally and or collectively, if we're in a time between stories, rather than bemoaning it, perhaps we'd be better off channeling our imaginal cell energies towards writing the story we want instead. Sometimes the sorrow weighing on our hearts is the result of our own actions or inactions. We are human, we strive and go astray. And then we can find joy in noticing those moments and with compassion for ourselves, gently leading ourselves back to how we want to be. In silent prayer or meditation, let us now recommit ourselves to this healing path, as well as hold all we have heard with compassion and care. We now further honor all that was shared and everything left unsaid on our hearts by lifting these up in prayerful song. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing number 123, Spirit of Life. The lyrics are on screen and in the online order of service. do a little sound check again since we're switching mics. It's all right? Okay. Some of you may have heard the little tale of an earnest spiritual seeker who approaches a hot dog vendor and says, "Make me one with everything." Make me one with everything. The vendor loads on the toppings, hands it to the seeker and says, $4, please. The seeker hands over a $10 bill, which the vendor puts in his catch box. After some awkward moments, the seeker inquires, "What about my change?" "Ah," replies the vendor, "change must come from within." And as many deep thinkers have affirmed, there is great truth in this notion. For example, the pioneering German psychoanalyst Otto Rank said, "What we achieve inwardly will change outward reality." A view that renowned Czech writer cum statesman Václav Havel seconded when he said that, quote, "Consciousness precedes being." That is, to a great degree, our inner mindset manifests in our outer reality. Consciousness precedes being. Cultural historian and philosopher Richard Tarnas broadens and underscores this idea when he speaks of the profound power of worldviews. He says, "Our worldview is not simply the way we look at the world. It reaches inward to constitute our innermost being and outward to constitute the world. Worldviews create worlds." Yet, of course, life is always a dynamic interface of inner and outer, of stimulus and response, external event and internal interpretation, inner vision and outward ventures. And while other insightful people, among them the Buddha, remind us that we always have a choice as to how we interpret things the outside world presents to us, when these bring unforeseen and sometimes unwanted changes to our accustomed situation, at first this can be difficult because it's disorienting. Our external world has changed, and our internal world and worldview need some time to catch up. I'll expand on this thought in a moment, but let me approach it with a brief aside. A number of you know I served as UUCPA's sabbatical minister in the latter half of 2023, and a few might recall that for that fall's water communion service, I offered some reflections based on the Grateful Dead song Ripple. I knew the Dead had formed in the Bay Area, but until then I did not know that it was right here in Palo Alto. Nor did I know, as some church research points to, that founding member Jerry Garcia and his first wife were very likely married at UUCPA. Which brings me to a question for you, especially in the early days, after the Dead's founding in 1965. Besides their music, what were they and their Deadhead fans most associated with? A lyrical hint comes from their song Truckin'. What a long, strange trip it's been. Shout it out, somebody. Acid, LSD, and more broadly, yes, psychotropic, consciousness expanding substances, and including their music. And it was kind of a return to shamanic days of trance dancing under the influence and all that. So, and that's certainly what the Deadhead. I had a friend who was a Deadhead for a while, first a psychedelic one and then a straight and sober one. And when Jerry Garcia died, he said, "Man, my guru died and my religion stopped touring." And there was a lot of truth to that. Anyhow, I share this to introduce a little historical perspective on change. Because in the 60s, there was another cosmic trip that was acid-free, but just as mind-expanding. On December 23rd, 1968, NASA astronaut Jim Lovell pointed a live TV camera from Apollo 8 and framed a granular black and white shot of Earth from 175,000 miles away. The next day, as the spacecraft again rounded the moon, crewmate Bill Anders snapped perhaps the most perspective-enlarging photograph in history, an image of the Earth ascending over the lunar horizon that came to be known as Earthrise. The following day in the New York Times, poet Archibald MacLeish articulated the massive shift in awareness this image triggered. To see the Earth as it truly is, small and blue and beautiful, in that eternal silence where it floats, is to see ourselves as riders on the earth together, siblings on that bright loveliness in the eternal cold. Recalling that worldviews create worlds, this literal new worldview that beheld the earth and thus all humankind as it truly is, evoked like responses in countless hearts at the time. One of these was mythologist Joseph Campbell, who spoke to the collective revisioning this calls for. As viewed by astronauts from the moon, the Earth lacks those lines of socio-political division that are so prominent on maps. And the planet is of one life. All that is required is a general change of vision to accord with these contemporary facts. Echoing almost verbatim words Campbell also expressed elsewhere, world religion scholar Houston Smith draws the obvious conclusion in a one-line declaration of this interdependency. The community today can be no single tradition. It is the planet. And Smith recognizes the challenge of adjusting to this unprecedented circumstance. He says, when historians look back on our 20th century, they may remember it not for space travel or the release of nuclear energy, but as the time when the peoples of the world first came to take one another seriously. The change that this new situation requires of us all is staggering. A measure of initial discomfort and trepidation in accommodating this higher moon's eye view is certainly understandable. As another psychedelic folk rock band called The Byrds sang in 1966, 8 miles high, and when you touch down, you'll find that it's stranger than known. Yet with some patience, effort, and support, people do successfully adjust to altered situations all the time, often with not only tolerable, but deeply gratifying results. But Campbell's general change of vision and the essential restructuring that stems from it can only start with admitting that a shift has occurred. And in this regard, Houston and Houston Smith, we have a problem. Because although we can all get a bit psychologically stuck at times, differences in both innate temperament and external surroundings, say being raised in an atmosphere of open exploration versus amid rigid religious or social beliefs, means that the ultimate degree of flexibility in adjusting to change varies drastically. And from the mid-20th century until today, this has fueled a war of the worldviews between those striving to foster a more equitable and sustainable planetary community and those determined, consciously or unconsciously, to retain their psychological equilibrium and or parochial power and privilege. Among the latter, from certain political factions to their strange bedfellow and acutely hypocritical religious bodies, to corporations, to media and social media outlets, and on many other cultural fronts, Unimaginable resources are aimed at maintaining these. And all these parties and efforts are just as profusely unimaginative, for they all amount to what scholar Henry Giroux calls disimagination machines. Because in that walled-off and hemmed-in worldview, imagining that society can be different is deemed dangerous. Hence, to sustain the current decaying order, it's imperative to shrivel the imagination and ideally suck it totally dry. One tactic is to present that order as self-evidently and unashamedly beyond reproach. This involves categorically dismissing any and all criticism, along with any proposals of new imaginative possibilities, as invalid, nigh unto insane, sometimes with vicious scorn and ridicule. This feeds into another gambit, which is to sanctimoniously blame those who, in an equitable and sustainable planetary community, would now require equal consideration. To essentially say, if you don't fit my worldview, you're the problem. One wishes that admitting and adjusting to change wasn't so doggone hard for some folks. After all, everyone knows change is inevitable, except, as Robert C. Gallagher notes, from a vending machine. But under all the unrighteous rage and disimaginative denialism is a powerful hidden motivator, which mythologist Michael Meade identifies. Change is the essence of life, but as people face great challenges and an unknown future, they tend to become fearful. As fear spreads, most try to cling to something familiar and try to control things in order to reduce the terror of being overwhelmed. Yet the collective, overwhelming lesson of history on both collective and individual levels is that closing down and holding tight to familiar things does not work. In the dens of disimagination, fear manifests in nothing so much as trying to control everything and everyone by closing down, including the creative imagination, and holding tight, now to the point of a planetary near-death grip. But as the Quaker writer Parker Palmer rightly says, forced solutions are false solutions. Forced solutions are false solutions. So all this effort to cling to the familiar can only result in a paralyzed and petrified, meaning both fearful and ossified, pseudo-security, all the while detrimentally impeding the evolutionary changes now required. Remember that in our earlier reading, Darren Abraham cited writer Charles Eisenstein's statement that collectively we have entered a time between stories. That is, a time when the cornerstone assumptions and narratives that have given society direction and meaning crumble. A time when the caterpillar of culture becomes a fragile, immobile, vulnerable chrysalis, but the butterfly is not yet formed. And Richard Tarnas, here abridged by me, highlights the scale of our historical in-between setting. We are living in one of those rare ages, like the end of classical antiquity or the beginning of the modern era, that bring forth, through great stress and struggle, a genuinely fundamental transformation in the underlying assumptions and principles of the cultural worldview. The outcome of this tremendous moment in our civilization's history is deeply uncertain. Something is dying, and something is being born. The stakes are high for the future of humanity and the future of the earth. Given this, it's understandable that we might resonate with journalist Edward R. Murrow's quip that anyone who isn't confused doesn't really understand the situation. Which here we could tweak to anyone who isn't unsettled. And no wonder. Yet in the midst of this great stress and struggle, high-stakes transitional age, organizational development expert William Bridges affirms a timeless truth. It is only in between, when the old ways disintegrate and the new ways haven't yet taken shape, that creative answers are discovered. And despite all the disimaginative people still attached to some blend of religious dogma, presumptions of cultural superiority, and or political and financial interests that keep them scared and mired, myriad others, including, I suggest, most UUs, now possess a global Earthrise perspective. And with it, a willingness to better understand the realities and experiences of others, an increasing sensitivity to oppression, and a widening circle of moral concern that insists on the creative restructuring needed to remedy past and current inequities and align with our new global village reality. And as I shared at the start, consciousness precedes being. What we achieve inwardly will change outward reality. Worldviews create worlds. Finally, let's recall some more from our reading. That when a butterfly caterpillar becomes a chrysalis, it completely dissolves until it's just a genetic goo. That this goo is a temporary transitional state, and that this goo contains special imaginal cells that transform it from an immature to a mature stage of existence, one that can now take wing and perceive a much wider world. So in this betwixt and between cultural goo period, I would ask you to deeply ponder how you can be the most powerfully imaginal cell you can, well, imagine. And in this often troubling transitional time, I also encourage you to recall that love is stronger than fear. And that in UUism you are connected to a living tradition of loving, forward-thinking change makers. And that together we can be part of choosing and creating a better, more life-affirming story than the one that is on the way out. I'll underscore this aspiration in the form of a prayer composed by UU minister Reverend Derek Jackson. Spirit of love, waymaker, give me strength. Help me to be open to what may come. Help me to learn and grow. Help me to have faith in this world, even in times of confusion, struggle, and pain. Remind me that I am not alone, that I am one of many who are dedicated to the transformation of the world, and that this transformation requires my own willingness to change as well. Namaste, and blessed be. As part of Unitarian Universalism's free church tradition, this congregation accepts no money from any governmental body nor from any ecclesiastical authority in order that we shall remain free to govern ourselves. In addition to their annual pledges, each week our members and friends may choose to give an additional contribution as a public witness that we are and shall remain a free faith. As is UUCPA's long-standing practice, today's offering will be donated to this month's Justice Partner, South Bay Sanctuary Covenant. You can use cash or check, or the QR code, or text info on the order of service. Please give generously. Those chickens need you. Are great testing. We are grateful for the gifts offered today and for all the gifts and blessings in our lives. And in the spirit of positive change and transformation, here's one final bit of wisdom. Its source is unknown, though it may be modified from a quote by author Ray Bradbury. Life is like underwear. Change is good. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. The lyrics are on screen and in the online order of service. Whether online or here in the main hall, please stay after the service for conversation. We begin with greeting time, a chance to speak to someone you haven't met before or haven't seen in a while. And as always, thanks to everyone involved in making today's service possible. Our chalice extinguishing words come from Elizabeth Sell Jones. And as a little practice in change, please say them together today. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you very much, Martin. Much appreciated. I don't know if you chose I'm the Walrus because it has that line, I am the Eggman in it, and we're buying chickens today, but it really fits. So, well, thank you. Now, if you're online, please unmute yourself, turn on your video, and touch hands virtually. If you're in the main hall or the patio, please stand and reach out to hold hands if you and your neighbor are comfortable with that, or to show that you are connected with Spirit if you prefer, cross your hands over your heart while we say our benediction together.